Alright YouTubers, this is a video basically to show you what happens if you go out to your AC unit on your house and you find out that your motor is basically buzzing and nothing else is happening. I mean, the compressor's off, everything is off. And this is what happened in my situation. First of all, I have this one motor right here, which if we can get the model number of it, and it doesn't look like it's going to focus on it. There we go. So the 5K CP39EG motor right there, which is a 1075 RPM motor, was extremely hot when I touched it. I mean, it was buzzing as I walked out there, so it was trying to run, but it was so hot to the touch, it was terrible. And so I immediately pulled the disconnect on it and wondered, well, what in the world happened? Couldn't quite understand what was going on. So I assumed, the motor was probably burned out at that point in time since it was so hot. I ended up taking the motor off, and this happens to be a 3-wire motor. So you see the 3 wires right there. We got the brown, purple, and black. And then it had the Turbo 200 capacitor on there, which is kind of an overkill capacitor because it'll run multi things. So we were only using part of it. And I went to Locke Supply this morning, took this stuff in, and they basically gave me some new equipment here. And what they ended up doing was, that's one of these things. It's a Economaster EM3728 motor, which is the same kind of a motor. It's a 1/4 horse, 1075 right there, and this is a 5 MFD on here. And then they gave me, we got a new capacitor also, and I'm trying to find the box for that. So the new capacitor was this one right here. I guess they call it a Titan HD right there, and that's the information on that. So it's a 45 and then a 5 MFD. So the 45 runs the compressor, the 5 runs the motor on that. And so let you guys look at that for a second if you need the model number or anything on that. So anyways, I got these at Locke Supply, and it was a little over $100, which I thought was pretty cool. And so I'll go out to the AC unit here and show you what I ended up having to do, because the wires were different in my case. Okay, we're outside now. It's a little bright out here. We'll see if it'll dim down. There we go. So this is the unit right here. I ended up, of course, like I said, on the inside here, I changed the motor. I just turned the fan off, so it's sitting here still running. It's winding down. But yeah, I couldn't touch the top of this right here. It was so hot. I mean, it would have burned your hand, no doubt. And it was buzzing. Now, here was what I had to do. This was a little bit different. Being that other capacitor had so many connections on it, this one doesn't. This one only has the 3 different terminals on here. It has the fan and the current and then the common on it. So this fan happens to have 2 brown wires. One is a solid brown, the other one's a brown with a white stripe on it. See that right there? This is the compressor wire right there, and then it had a black and a white wire right there. So the black and the white wire are the hot wires. So one side goes to one of the 120 volt lines, the other side goes to the other side right there. So we did that. I initially, which I did wrong, had both of these brown wires hooked up to the fan connection up there on the top. But that was wrong. The fan ran slow and it overheated and shut off, and I thought, oh no, I burned it up again. So that wasn't the case. Thought about it for a little bit, and actually I saw another video, and I can't recall what video it was at the moment. Somebody said that you don't have to put on the brown wire with the white stripe, that you can just take it off and forget about it. So I thought about that, and I yanked it off, fired it back up, and sure enough, it runs. And so all I have connected here is the brown wire, which goes to the fan side of the capacitor, And of course, you've got one side of the 110 going to the capacitor right there, which is the common, and then the wire, or the yellow wire, I'm sorry, is the one that goes to the compressor at that point. And then the other wire, basically I just put a piece of tape over it, shoved it in there, and it's done. The black wire, I just tied in right in there. I didn't even bother with putting the connector on. I just undid the screw and tied it right in. Wire, same thing right there. Just kind of put it onto the screw. And now, when you fire it up, put in the fuse here, or not the fuse, but the breaker. See what happens. Fires up. So the fan's running, you can see, and the compressor's going. It's blowing out nice hot air, and it's very fast. One thing also, when you put that motor on, I'll get out of the way so you can hear me here. When you put that motor on, the shaft of the motor is extremely long. It's like, I don't know, it was like 8 inches long. It was really long. And from another video that I had found somewhere, they said, cut the shaft off, otherwise it will cause the motor to wear out and it'll burn out your bearings and all that kind of stuff. And initially when I put it on, I just left it long to see if I could get it to work, and sure enough, it was vibrating the whole thing. And now I cut it off really short, put the fan up close to the motor as I could, and as you can see, it's very slightly vibrating, but not near as much as it was. It's definitely running really well right now. And so that's what I did, guys. And if you have any other questions, just comment below and I'll try to answer those. Later. Bye.